quotient that a lot of my teammates really understand when I say that I'm usually the dumbest guy in the room. I'm a Hawaiian from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, born and raised. I have a deep background in the business space. I can sell widgets. That's what I do great. I've been in the energy space for 4 years, and that's where I have been able to thrive these past 4 years. And my story starts in 2018, in September of 2018, Jigger Shaw and I were on a call. For those of you that know the name, Jigger Shaw is the guy that started the solar PPAs, and we were talking about a project that we were doing, and he said, AJ, I need your help. I just got off the phone with PG&E, and everybody knows they're gonna file bankruptcy, but what they don't know is they're gonna shut off the power 30 times next year. I need you to help me build microgrids. Okay, first tell me what a microgrid is. So we started to put together this idea of building a microgrids, and hence DR Microgrid was formed. I'm the founder of DR Microgrids. Recently, just this past month, I was board appointed president for a company called Instant-On, which is a battery energy storage, advanced energy storage, fuel cell technology distributor. And what we've learned in our time here, I sit also as a senior advisor for the California Energy Alliance, where we are helping the CDC to write Title 24 policy. My specific seat is over the demand response. I also work with another organization that is helping to create the 10-year rolling portfolio for the major IOUs, public purpose funds, the distribution of these incentives. There's over $12 billion in these incentives. So I sit in a unique position. I run 2 companies that are heavily integrating microgrids. I understand what's going on, and I'm helping to write policy, and I'm also helping to identify where incentives are moving towards. So when Adam talks about this SGIP rebates and all these opportunities, I literally sit at the helm of all of this stuff, and I'm just getting excited because the money's there. The problem is I see a lot of challenges, and I think that's why I was invited, is because I'm literally the boots on the ground. Our company is integrating microgrids at a very rapid pace. And we're trying to help as many other companies to become a part of this space. We need help. We're not trying to become the monopoly. We're not trying to become the main guys. There's a lot of companies out there that have the pedigree and the name and the opportunity to go there, but quite frankly, they don't know what they're doing. We've seen a lot of challenges within the microgrid space that can be solved when we bring people together. So DR Microgrid stands for Demand Response Microgrids. When we first came into the field, everybody, I'd say 90% of the people that we talked to said the utilities must hate you, because you're getting people off the grid, you're giving them energy independence, and you're doing all of this stuff. So what we did was we actually wrote a patent around our process on how we respond to demand response. So we build our microgrids to support the grid. So for those of you that understand demand response, it's based on curtailment. It's shutting off equipment. The problem is when you start curtailing energy and you start shutting off equipment, you upset my operations in my building, and it makes me upset. So I tend to opt out of these programs, thereby reducing the revenue that the customer is going to get, also not giving the utility the benefit of the full demand response energy that I had committed. So it's a lose-lose scenario. What we have done is we've created a scenario where we're bringing the microgrid into play. So now, when a demand response event is called, we island the building. Simple, right? Why not? If I've created this microgrid to island myself in times of resiliency needs, why couldn't I do it in times of revenue opportunity? So I maximize my revenue, and I create a better solution for the grid, to support the grid. So we've created a patent around the process to do a full offset demand response. So now instead of traditional curtailment of, I've got a 100 kW max load building, and they call an event saying we need power. It's 110 degrees in LA, everybody's AC is on, and we need power. So we're gonna ask you, building, to shut off your power. We reduce it by 20 kW, that's what you get paid on. Again, I gotta shut off stuff in my building. What we do is say, don't touch my building, I'll island it. So I maximize my revenue stream because now I'm giving them the full building offset. We have 2 other patents that we put together. One was a negative load reduction, meaning that we've got some properties in which we have 100 kW max load on the building, but we put a megawatt battery on site. They need the resiliency to keep this going. We got a biomedical facility, 25 years of cancer research. They cannot get shut off. So you've got a megawatt battery that's sitting there. So if the utility needs power at 100 kW max load, go ahead and take 400 or 500 kW. Well, Kaisel kiboshed that. They're still trying to figure it out. So it's not possible right now, but I believe that that's going to be something that's very imminent on being able to utilize these on-site storage opportunities, right? The third one that we created was a negative load reduction and excess supply. So we all know that California is producing too much power because of the renewable energy that we have. We're actually curtailing our renewable energy, and we're paying other states to take our excess. So PG&E has a great program where they're paying you to turn on equipment. Interesting, but don't upset my operations. So because it's a day-ahead event notice, I now can go ahead and take my controls, and they can go ahead and direct all of my renewable energy into my building the day before, leave me an empty battery, so that the next day when they call the event, they can shove all of that power into my battery. Do not touch my building. Don't upset the current operations of my building. So that's what's given us a lot of traction within the industry. But I think the opportunity here really lies on being able to take all of our experiences that we have here and collectively create better and bigger opportunities when we partner up with other companies. So for instance, Adam specifically talked about how there is, if you know all of these opportunities within the SGIP program. So what we found is that a lot of these companies that do a lot of large scale or commercial installations, and they're selling batteries now in their projects, they don't really understand the economics and the abilities that are necessary to get the full SGIP rebates. Most people don't realize it, and this is where NAC comes in, because NAC was one of the first ones to identify the problem, in that they're saying, hey, Promise Energy is going after this big incentive. We didn't realize that we actually have to monitor this building for 10 years. The SGIP rebate is given out over 5 years. If you mess up over that course of 10 years, there's an opportunity for clawback. You gotta maintain your solar system. You gotta maintain all of your energy systems in place. So that's where, we've helped create this SGIP compliance pack, because that truly becomes a business model. Everything that Adam was talking about, that there's a lot of money out there, there's a lot more coming. There really is. The CPUC is diving deep into trying to help create a solution to this PSPS scenario that we're dealing with. And this is something I speak at a lot of different conferences, and one of the things that is the prevailing subject matter is, what is the value of resiliency? That's huge. What is the value of resiliency? So a lot of people, they look at, when you're using energy tool-based to go ahead and model these projects, it is an absolute necessity to be able to utilize this tool. But then still comes the opportunity to try to help these customers understand the value of resiliency. So for example, Vallartas, we were helping them, Mexican grocery chain, and we were helping them put together a plan on resiliency. This is a grocery store. When we looked at their problem, many of us would look at their problem and say, what is the number one thing that they have to protect? Refrigerated goods. Would you guys agree? Yes. Refrigerated goods. Their executive looked at me and said, AJ, you think we care about that? I got insurance for that. You know what I care about? Batching my credit cards. I missed the mark. Here I was looking to protect the refrigerated goods, but the thing that was most important to the customer was being able to take his credit card that has not been batched because it's lost in ether. The simple solution is a UPS, right? I mean, everybody knows, just go ahead and put UPS on your system and you're good. But it was more than that. So the idea that the conversation that now has to happen between myself and the customer and all of you and the customer is, what is your challenge? Using energy tool-based as a way to be able to model the metrics and the opportunities on paper is one thing, but you need to get deep down into what it is that is driving the customer's buying decisions. And resiliency is a huge topic, but again, at the end of the day, we need to be able to value resiliency in a way that most people aren't going about it properly. So when we talk about how the economics play out, on average, our proposals are probably pushing in at about a 5-year payback, give or take. But it's a broken metric. A payback period is a broken metric. I mean, I'd prefer to use other metrics like savings to investment ratio, which is how many times I get my money back rather than how long it takes me to get my money back. So it's about educating the customer, right? It's about being able to help them understand that we're adding this value stacking that Adam was talking about, being able to value stack that energy storage system. Quite frankly, the energy storage system doesn't give them the value in and of itself as an energy storage component. Definitely not. Go ahead and use generators. But now when we go ahead and value stack it with demand management, curtailment, and being able to load shift, as well as being able to sell the power back into the grid. The one thing that people don't realize is that truly becomes an opportunity, especially as we start to aggregate it. So that's where we've worked with NAC to be able to do controlled response. Now we've got this coordinated response. Demand response is one thing, but we've got all these disparate systems all around the country, quite frankly. Energy Toolbase has, all of these contractors that utilize their platform, but there's no coordinated response in being able to utilize all of this power and intelligently allow it to respond to these different things. So when we look at the different opportunities that we have as it relates to taking these projects and moving them to the side of resiliency, we need to ensure that we're actually putting in the right equipment. And that's part of the other thing that we've done. That's where Instant On comes into place, because Instant On has watched some of these companies come in. Quite frankly, there has been EPCs that have installed solar and storage on home, and we've had contractors with a 50% failure rate. You've got tier 1 and tier 2 equipment that's being put on. You've got a great EPC. They know what they're doing, but it's the communication between these devices that is not working properly. And that's where we've been able to bring in our partners to be able to say, hey, let's go ahead and create a system that works and talks and does all the things together before we start deploying. Before we just figure, we went ahead and got our permit for our solar, got our permit for our batteries, everything should work, and we have seen that that's not the case. So more recently, we are actually engaging in a pilot with SoCalGas on integrating a fuel cell into our microgrid. So we're going to be bringing on a 1.5 kW fuel cell powered by natural gas, coupled with solar, energy storage system, and our controls to be able to show how the load can be supplemented from solar to help us on the resiliency side. So it's becoming a real good opportunity for us to bring in other generation sources. We recently signed a project with All American Homes, which is building 1 million homes for veterans. This is a project that we're really excited about. They came in and they asked us, can you guys go ahead and show us how to create a resilient community to protect these veterans? But their ask was, we don't really have all the money that we need. So we partnered with them. We're putting on a 5 kW, these are 1,200 square foot homes, and we're putting on a 5 kW solar system and a 40 kWh battery in every home. We're dropping a megawatt battery on that community. This first community is 37 homes in the city of Paris. I think anybody in here that understands what we do, that's a lot of power. 40 kWh of battery, that's 3 Tesla Powerwalls in every single home. So obviously, those of you that have been listening at some point of what I've been saying, we're going to take that power and we're going to sell it off to the utility. And we're going to monetize that excess power and be able to help the community not only create resilience, but also be able to pay for all the equipment, right? So I think that's kind of the opportunities that we need to look at here is if we can go ahead and take these systems and create better solutions for the communities that we serve and all that, I think that's where the opportunity lies. One of the things that we recently did is I wrote an op-ed on low-income homes. And I have been working with the utility to say you need to give these low-income homes free batteries. Now, why would we do that? Well, because you just created your own virtual peaker plant. Imagine being able to put 20 to 40 kWh in every low-income home for free. You give them a reduced utility bill. You give them resiliency in the event of a power shutoff, but also, whenever you need power, you take it from those batteries that are on somebody else's property. Whenever you are producing too much power, to help you with the duck curve, go ahead and shove those power right back into the batteries that you have. But you need management on the loads. You need to be able to control the loads in such a way. So it gives you those opportunities to monetize these systems in a unique way. So one of the challenges that CPUC has with coming out with this SGIP increase is they said, I was on a panel with one of them last month, and they said, Asia, we're excited about this increased utility incentive, or in this increase on the SGIP incentive, but this is our problem. It's barely scratching the surface. Based on the economics, we're looking at maybe protecting 25 to 35,000 families. That's not enough. The governor was on a call with some of our team members and said, we need help. California needs help. So I put this charge on every single person in here to help find a way to integrate microgrids into your business model, to look at all the things that we've done creatively. Again, I'm taking demand response and I'm absolutely turning it upside down. The fact that I'm coming in as a 4-year veteran in the industry and I'm saying, why don't you do this, all the utilities. We're doing pilots with SDG&E, PG&E, SoCal Gas. I've aggregated more C&I customers for Lockheed Martin than all 27 of their contractors in their SCE program. So I'm a salesperson. At the end of the day, I do business, but it makes business sense to the things that we're doing. So when we take tools like Energy Toolbase, when we take technologies like NAP, when we take ideas that we've been able to put together and we start teaming them together with companies and technologies that you guys have available, it allows us to really do the things that we're here to do. Protect the families, protect the communities, protect the businesses, and at the end of the day, when we do the right things, we can't stop the business from coming to us. So it's my challenge, before we get into the Q&A, it's my challenge to each and every one of you, figure out a way to be able to integrate the things that we have. Learn from us, take what we have, go out there, create something better. Because the people need our help. They don't know how to figure this stuff out. I'm just learning it, but guess what? I'm not afraid to go ahead and test it, fail, test it again, and make sure that we just keep coming up with a better solution every single time. And that's my challenge to each and every one of you. So at this time, we'd like to